Hello fellow nerds, this is Sean. I am a nerd that knits. We are going to be talking about some knitting news. Now, usually knitting is not in the pop culture zeitgeist like ever, but there have been a lot of knitting trends and knitting things that I've been seeing, things that you will see out in the wild that are knitting related, and boy, there are quite a bit. I became obsessed as soon as this dropped, and that is if you know who Hank Green is. Now, Hank Green is an OG YouTuber. Back in the day, him and his brother John Green are very big proponents of science and knowledge, and I could go all day talking about this guy. You are probably thinking, Sean, why are you talking about him now? Because, my friends, he created an app that is called Focus Friend, and it is really targeted for people who need something to help them focus, to stay on a task, me included, ADHD here. But the part that really is like, it was just so beautiful, I had to have it, is because it's knitting inspired. Yes, the whole premise of this app called Focus Friend is basically this character, which happens to be bean shaped, and you can name it whatever name you want. I just left it as Bean. He wants to design his room, but in order to design his room, he makes things in order to get points to design his room. So you open up and he's quite literally just standing in a box. And then you can go decorate, and then you pick the items that you want to decorate. The first day this app came out, I downloaded it, I started decorating, of course. And the cute thing is that for how many minutes or hours or amount of time, you get so many items that he's made. So basically what's happening is he's making these items in the time that you're focusing. And most of these items are going to be socks, unless you unlock the extra stuff where you can then make scarves. I think you do have to pay. Basically what happens is that you're making these items, and then those points go towards a rug, or, you know, wall art, or a desk, or all the things that decorate the room with. And there's different levels. You need so many socks for one item, you need so many sweaters for another item, and I've already decorated my room. Let's just leave it at that, because I was obsessed. Because once again, I'm a product knitter. I'm knitting for a finished project. That's the kind of knitter I am. And so for me, I was like, I want my room decorated. I want it to be beautiful. This is such a fun game. If you are a knitter, if you have ADHD, if you just love seeing cute things, because this is extremely cute. The graphics are adorable, and I can't wait for them to add additional rooms. I would really love it if they had a house, but we don't know. I mean, the thing about this is I'm just so happy that it really took off the way it did, because when things take off, that makes, you know, future revenue for them to do more projects. So because this is so new and fresh and people love it, that means hopefully we'll get more of it. A Knit Picks advertisement that I saw on, I believe it was on Facebook, and how they're using The Life of a Showgirl, Taylor Swift's new album, and it had some really funny knitting memes. And so I'm just going to show you a few of these that I thought that were funny. And I love that a lot of people have been using Taylor Swift as their advertising guru right now, especially after she announced her engagement. They announced their engagement, but still, it's really interesting how even the knitting world has been picking up on some of those. And so if you haven't seen the Knit Picks advertisement, I'm going to show you the pictures now. These I thought were so funny. This is also using Taylor Swift as a marketing ploy, but these are kind of like knitting memes, and I absolutely love how they're using her pictures from her new album already. And we got some knitting memes, so here it is. This is so funny. The yarn we bought together, my paycheck, me, that's very true. I don't know if my paycheck's doing that, but you know, yeah. Here's another one, how I feel wearing my most expensive yarn. Yes, I can tell you, I feel bougie when I'm wearing my bougie yarn. I'm also very choosy where I wear my bougie yarn outfit. This is when the coworker I asked if I can knit them a sweater. I don't know how many times people have asked me to knit them stuff. I'm just thinking in the back of my head, never in a million years. But what usually comes out of my mouth is a giant number to scare people. And a lot of knitters that I know do this. And crocheters too. Say a big number and then maybe they'll disappear. Watching people open my hand knit gift from across the room. I've done this. I don't know if this is the face I've made, but I definitely am like, oh, well, yes. I remember one gift I gave someone. It was a baby sweater. I was like saying, oh yes, and the wool was virgin wool, and I had to explain to people what virgin wool was. They're like looking at me like, what do you mean virgin wool? And it was like, okay, I'm playing to the wrong crowd. But the person that got the baby sweater enjoyed it, so that's really all that matters. I bet you could sell that. Ugh, that's another one I've gotten all the time. There's one coming up that I swear I have received this comment so many times where I'm like, if I had $1 for this comment, this is definitely one I've gotten a lot. Oh, how my project looks at me while it's blocking. Yes, actually. It does. It does look like that. And the worst part is that if you block, you know you're not even done, because then after that you gotta dry it and let it completely air dry. I mean, you could put a hair blow dryer on it. What are the chances that you might shrink the thing with a hair blow dryer? And I've definitely tried to block something faster with a hair blow dryer. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying I have done that for sure to speed up the process. This right here is the comment I probably get the most. You should open an Etsy shop. Oh my goodness. No. I have gotten this comment so many times to the point where I have to explain to people that when you open an Etsy shop, if you know anyone that has an Etsy shop, if you know anything about Etsy, it's a business. Business requires time. Business requires energy. Business requires some business sense and some business knowledge. This is something you enjoy, and it just takes on a different life of its own. And so when people say you should open up an Etsy shop, I feel very much like unsolicited advice. Then people don't know the real cost of things. So usually when I hear this comment, I start going into, oh, but you don't know the real cost, and then you give out a big number and it scares people. You could go 50 million ways with this comment alone. And I'm not saying you should. Sometimes the best path is just to be like, oh, thanks, and move on. And that face, yeah, that's real. The reviewing my stitches after a wine night, oh yeah, that's the shame of having to rip out everything you've done. For me, it's not like a wine night because I don't really drink and knit. Mine's like brain fog, or I didn't understand something, or didn't put a lifeline in. There's other things, but yeah, for sure. Seeing a mistake I made 17 rows ago, oh yeah. For me personally, it's like no one would notice it. I just let it go. But if it's a mistake that really throws off the design, you better be sure I'll be ripping it back. I tend to go for character, not perfection. So if it's one stupid little mistake, oops, oh well, I definitely go with the oh well and I just keep on carrying on. But if it's something really bad, then oh yeah, I'm fixing it. When I'm counting stitches and someone talks to me, yep, yes, yep, you better believe it. My emotional support project, yes, and this emotional support project is going with me everywhere. I'm finding out the yarn I just bought is now on sale. Been there, done that. Yeah, that sucks. Oh, that looks easy. I haven't gotten that as much. Watching my IG notifications after posting a new project, no one looks at my stuff, so yeah, that really doesn't apply to me very much. That look my cat gives me before demolishing my knitting station. That's why my knitting station is in my studio, so yes. But I have a daughter that likes to go after my knitting station. Me spotting a fellow knitter across the cafe. Yes, this is me. I will come upon you and I will attack you. Another piece that I've seen recently, and they were using album knitted wear. What I mean is the shirt from her, it's me, I'm the Problem It's Me music video. So it's like, make this item, and then it had like her sweater and then her. The other one was like a sweater that she wore for folklore. Another one was the crochet dress that she wore while she was out and about. So it's really interesting. A lot of these places are using Taylor Swift as advertisement. If she were to come out of the woodworks and how she feels about it, I think in a crafting space she would be okay, since, you know, she's making sourdough bread right now, guys. I don't know if you've noticed, but the rainbow sprinkle sourdough bread looked so much fun. So I think that she's in her crafting era as well. But I know that she is an avid cook. I know that she bakes. I think that this is just another part of things that bring us joy, and to have these things that maybe help fulfill our lives just a little bit extra. This is basically kind of what I'm talking about here. So this is a ad for Jimmy Bean's Yarns. I have bought yarn from them before. They're a great company, but great online yarn store. And this to me is very acceptable. I love how they did this. It's probably the more organic way of using her engagement as a way to buy yarn. And so I feel that whoever created the advertisement on this, it's definitely within the realms of, okay, cool. This to me is not icky, because sometimes advertising using someone's likeness without their approval can get a little icky, but this is great. And I love this right here. It says make the looks. It says the folklore cardigan. Here they're talking about the yarn, looking at the pattern. We recommend. And then this, I'm guessing that this is the sweater that this person made Instagram or maybe even Ravelry. I'm not sure. Here's another one. Here's a picture. Looks like this is another recreation of that sweater. Maybe Ravelry account, maybe Instagram, maybe TikTok. You never know. This gives me very teenage Vogue vibes. This is giving me 17 magazine. I don't even know if those magazines even exist anymore, because it's just such a different time period. When I was growing up, we had Teenage Vogue, we had 17, and I love 17. And they always had spreads. You'll see this in Vogue too, if you've ever had a Vogue subscription, sometimes Cosmopolitan magazines. This is kind of the layout of an old Vogue insert. They'd have a celebrity, and then they'd have sometimes they'd have earrings, and then how much the earrings were from what person, and basically it's a buy this look at, you know, cheaper price or comparative price, or, you know, however they want to do it. But this is using yarn instead of like high fashion, and I absolutely love that, because for me, being someone that read a lot of Vogue in the past, this is exactly what this is. I love this throwback. Here we are. This is another one. This one's a little bit bigger. This is the Lavender Haze tank. And then there's multiple pictures of people that have also made it. This one in the corner says, we recommend the Malabrigo Caprino yarn. And this looks like this was a crocheted version. And then this looks like that's a knitted version. I love the fact that they shared, because for some strange reason, a lot of people try to pit crocheting and knitting against each other. And I just want to state for the record, we're sisters, we're cousins. There's different stitches, and that's it. It just looks differently. Certain things I think are better crocheted, certain things I think are better knitted, but you know, that's the eye of the beholder. When people are like, which one's better? It's not a competition. It really isn't. They do different things. And so I love the fact that they included both of those. Of course, here's the colors that they suggested with the Malabrigo. You see like a little bit of knitting, you see a little bit of crocheting in this corner. It really is showing the juxtaposition of both patterns in both different interpretations of this sweater. And so that is beautiful. The granny stitch dress, we recommend, I want to say it's Sheepy's Katona yarn. Obviously this was a dress that's supposed to be crocheted anyway, so it looks like that person made it, and that's another crocheted version of that dress. Here's another crocheted version of that dress. This one has not been modified for knitting, and you know, that's fine, because it really is supposed to be a granny stitch dress. Can you maybe manipulate knitting to look like crocheted stitches, possibly, I'm not really sure. And so here are all the looks. With all the buzz around Taylor Swift's engagement, we couldn't resist pulling some of her most, and then see more, a screenshot of what I saw. And I'm gonna say that's like her most knittable, her most crochetable, just fashions. If you have been following me, I did take her costume that she uses on the Eras tour during her Reputations, a knitted top, and I added knitted snakes that I made, and then I had placed rhinestones on the knitted snakes. If you know the costume, you know what I'm talking about. So I actually did a video that showed my knitting rendition of a costume that she had done for the Eras tour, and then I went to go see the Eras tour movie when it premiered. You definitely saw a lot of that with her Eras tour, and so this once again is a throwback to the things that people did for her Eras tour. I love it, and I think it once again, it's bringing her fans into the crafting space. It's just, I think it's great. I think it's beautiful marketing. I think it's really smart. I think it's really good business sense, as long as you do it the right way and you're not just stealing her likeness just to being profited and making money off of her. Because right here, you're using her likeness, but you're saying, hey, you can also style like her, and these are the things that you can do to make this particular item and this particular item, especially if you plan on going to another tour, or if you plan on going to an event where you want to look like her, or whatever and whatnot. Last one, and quite frankly, this one just happened. My kids are going back to school, and like all parents that, you know, have multiple kids, you do a Costco run. Here I was in Costco with my husband looking around for things, and I saw something that I found very, very interesting. So my kids love horror, and they're not into like horror movies yet because they're very young, but they like scary stuff. They like jump scare stuff. They just love the spooky. But I feel that horror is not just movies. Now it's like the characters. They're drawn more to the characters. I don't know. There's just something about these characters. Halloween caricatures. I don't know if that's the right term, but basically it's made by robots. It is these knitted cartoony sculptures of main character of horror movies. So we have Halloween 2, Ghostface, Child's Play Chucky, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The interesting part is the texture is knitted. It's like a knitted texture, but it's made out of plastic. So you'll see what I mean. So here is this guy, here's Ghostface, the knitting detail on it. I don't know why. I absolutely think that is so much fun. Look, a little knitted knife. Ah. What the box looks like. That's Child's Play. That's Chucky. You can kind of see that vibrant color. Face with the teeth, with how they did that. It's just really smart. And then here's, look at the eyes. That's this little chainsaw. So I find it very interesting how some of this knitting that we have is really jumping into other pop culture realms. And so just if you're a knitter, this is so much fun, because for me, I love it all. Why do I love it all? Because I really want to inspire other people to knit, because for me, it's very calming and it's soothing. What gets me through my life, and it helps me, you know, just kind of work through all my stuff, because we all got stuff we got to work through. And so I love that other people get inspired, and even if it's a game about knitting socks, even if it's knitted texture in a, you know, something that you're decorating your room or your house for Halloween, I love it all. These are just a few things that I've seen recently that are knitting inspired. I hope that you get more inspiration in this upcoming month, and I really hope that we get some more knitters and crocheters out there that are excited to join in our community. And, you know, please love them in any way, shape, or form they come in, because, you know, there are baby knitters, there are baby crocheters, they are baby crafters, and we love them in whatever form they come. And so if you guys out there are not into Taylor Swift, let's just, you know, realize that sometimes the form that crafters come in might not fit the form that you started crafting. So please just be open-minded, and, you know, let's have fun. And I hope we get a lot more knitting inspired stuff out into the world. So thank you as always. Happy knitting and happy crocheting.